offshore wind, solar. Dominion Energy is a leader in the clean energy transition. We're dedicated to providing reliable, affordable, safe, and clean energy as we support and invest in our communities in 16 states. Dominion Energy is building a clean energy future. Actions speak louder. Welcome to Actions Speak Louder, shining a light on Dominion Energy's projects and community support. I'm Peggy Fox. We're focused on building a clean energy future as we build the country's largest offshore wind project and expand our solar generation. Dominion Energy now has the third largest solar portfolio among utilities across the nation. While we're proud of that, we're also proud of how we support our customers, and we're always learning about new organizations meeting critical needs. I'd like to introduce Holly Siebold, the founder and executive director of BRAWS, bringing resources to aid women's shelters. Thanks for joining us, Holly. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So what is BRAWS? I just said the name. I don't think that really gives it all away.
Right. So it's an acronym for Bringing Resources to Aid Women's Shelters. We started in January of 2015, serving the Northern Virginia community with pads and tampons and bras and underwear for very much critical items that are very rarely donated to shelters. But since then, we've actually expanded past shelters into schools and different community organizations.
Mm-hmm. Now, we were just chatting before, and you told me you started as a teacher.
Yes.
So, and at some point you had to leave teaching to run this organization full time.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm curious about how you found the need and how that whole thing started.
Yeah, that's a great question. I was reading an article and it was about another organization that collects suits and then distributes suits to women who are living in domestic violence shelters to help them get prepared for independence, looking for a job, interviews. And one of the most requested items at this organization was actually bras, new bras, because bras are such a personal item. It needs to be personally fitted. It's not something that you want to use that's already worn, especially if you are at the lowest point in your life. That's the last thing you need. So they really requested really well fit bras and underwear, to wear underneath their suits. And the other thing they talked about was that they didn't have the ability to manage their periods. And so, here we are getting them, teaching them how to interview, teaching them how to write a resume, making sure they look good with their suit on, but yet we didn't have the ability to manage their periods. So basic needs. Basic human needs. So how are they going to be able to go to this interview? Right. And so that as a mother myself and as a woman, this is something I never even considered, that there are people in this world who don't have access to these basic needs. And so, that is where it all stemmed from. And I held just a very quick collection drive at my house. And people were also shocked and surprised and hadn't thought about this. And they brought so many donations, and then I proceeded to donate it. And, since then it's just evolved. Just kind of snowballed. The people who got the supplies, and you would start donating to shelters. Yes, yeah. And then, I didn't even realize the mass amount of shelters within, this 1 mile radius of my house here in Northern Virginia, And so, every time I met somebody else who works for a different organization, they had asked for these products, and that the need was just so critical and so high, and we just kept collecting and raising money. Right. Talking about the need for managing your period, it's not something that's it used to be hush-hush. You don't talk about those sort of things. But it's really, like we said, such a basic human need. Yes. So the food banks aren't, they're there to bring food. But this is just as needed out there. So how did you go about expanding? I mean, it was pretty much just what we're doing now. Word of mouth, talking to people, explaining to different organizations that this is something they should include in their distributions. We started partnering with many food banks, particularly after COVID, just piggybacking on their outstanding work. You know, when people are coming to get food, let us join you and make sure we distribute these other critical supplies. And obviously the organizations embraced us, and you know, to this day we now have partnered with 165 different organizations in the DC area.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just through word of mouth.
I was going through your annual report,
great.
and also just everything you have on the website. And what struck me, I mean, you know, it's hard to make a video showing what we're talking about. We're talking about underwear and period supplies.
Right.
So, you know, but you have lots of children, part of Girl Scout troops or whatever, even Brownie troops helping in the donation process, which is really, really important, right? You've gotten lots of different organizations to help volunteer.
Right. Yeah, you know, at first it was something that people were very hesitant to help with. And I think that's why the problem has gotten to where it is. It's, you know, it was very normal for Boy Scouts to go out on Thanksgiving and collect cans, but they weren't necessarily comfortable asking for pads or tampons. And so what had happened was that the shelters and the schools, they were receiving tons of donations, but none of the donations that they were receiving actually fulfilled this need. And so, and I think it was just purely accidental, because as you said before, you know, it's just something that's a taboo topic that a lot of people don't talk about, so they're not quick to go donate that in their regular charity work. So so we've been talking about this, and I feel like that's been half the battle over the last 7 years, is just speaking about it, but making it public. We speak to Girl Scout troops, as you mentioned, you know, Boy Scout troops, to different service organizations, and we tell them about this need, and then they're more willing to do that. They're more willing to include these critical supplies in their donations.
I read one of the comments in your annual report about a lot. I read all of them, but several of them struck me. And one of them talked about going to a shelter, and a woman who had come for the supplies didn't even have any underwear. You know, and you think like, oh my gosh, this is such a basic need. You know, if you're trying to help homeless people, give them some underwear and tampons and pads. You know,
it's just I mean, people have very good intentions, and I just think it gets forgotten. So that's why I'm really grateful for you today to be willing to talk about this, and for Dominion to be able to support us, because this is very important.
And one thing that really struck me also was giving someone, you talked about the new bra, not just a hand-me-down. You need a new bra, and about and new underpants, you know, and all that, and how that gave people dignity.
The
word dignity.
It's like, that was the key.
Wow. Yeah, they don't want someone's used underwear.
No.
You know, you've got to go out and get and that's why you need donations.
Right. That's always been key to our mission, because from the very beginning, people are like, I have a bra that I've only worn like for an hour. You know, I paid $150 for this bra. Please let me donate it. And I say, you know, I want to, but I can't. You know, I have to be very strict with our mission that it's new, tags on only, because of that dignity piece. Because I would not be fulfilling our mission if I didn't have a standard on the bras that we accept. So it has been a challenge, because it's more expensive for people to have to go out and buy and purchase it. It's more expensive for us to purchase new bras as well. But we want to make sure that women who are living in domestic violence shelter, kids who are going to school, children, teens who are in foster care, you know, that they are getting that when they receive these items, they are feeling that somebody cares about me, and I'm going to now wear them with pride, and it's going to empower me to do better.
Yeah, and I know you had a quote from one of the recipients who talked about how it made her feel so much better about herself.
Yeah. You know, I love one of my favorite parts of the job is at the end of the year we collect all of the testimony from some of the recipients, because we don't work directly with our clients because of confidentiality issues. We only work directly with the partner organizations, and collecting that information and hearing from the women and girls that we serve is very powerful, and it you know, it really puts a face to all the work that we do throughout the year.
Talk about some of the partner organizations, because I was amazed at how many there are, and from all over the place, all over Virginia, and into Maryland, and where else?
In DC as well.
DC.
So it's schools and schools right around here. You got South Lakes High School.
Right here, I mean, we're right near where we are.
Right.
We have Madison, Marshall high schools. We have Oakton High School, South Lakes High School. There's just so many. We're in Loudoun, Fairfax, Alexandria, Arlington, Prince William, Frederick counties. And those are the schools that we partner with.
Right.
And actually, I think we probably serve about our population is about 2/3 of our population are students.
Okay.
The other 1/3 are women in shelters. And also we serve other populations that are typically marginalized, such as those who are struggling with opioid addiction. We work with shelters, recovery organizations and shelters down in like Southwest Virginia and out for example, one of the organizations which we love working with is the Chris Atwood Foundation, which is here based in Reston. And so we work with them monthly. We make sure that they have supplies so that they can distribute it to their clients. We work with women who are formerly incarcerated, who are trying to get back on their feet, and we've been working with Friends of Guest House, for example, forever, and they're a great partner. Work with Comfort Cases. I'm sure you've heard of them. They do great work, and they make sure that kids who are in the foster system have supplies that they need in backpacks when they are transitioning from home to home, and we work with them to make sure that there's pads and underwear, fresh underwear in their backpacks. So we've really expanded our services. We actually recently, with everything that happened in Afghanistan, with all of our new members of the community who have moved here, we've partnered with Lutheran Social Service Agency and some other organizations to make sure that they have access to those critical supplies as they build their home here in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, I read that that's one of the top organizations right now that you're helping.
Yes, and they need the support. So we're so happy to be able to partner with them. We're hoping that by providing these items that they have more funding now and to purchase food and other supplies that are critical.
Another organization that I was familiar with was Second Story.
Oh yes, we've been working with. They were one of the first. When I told you the story about how we originally began, they were one of the first shelters that we delivered to.
And talk about what that is.
Oh, okay. Second Story is such a great organization. They I do believe that they work with adults as well, but we work with their teens.
Okay,
and we make sure that their teens who are in housing get the supplies that they need. They also, unless something has changed, they do the Colmore After School program. And again, we've been working with them since day one. We have students from our organization who are volunteers who package bags, and they decorate the bags and they deliver it to the kids who are in the after school program.
Oh, that's wonderful. A little personal touch.
Yep, a little personal touch, just like a little message, like, sending this from a friend. I don't know, just a little something.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so it gets kids involved on our end, and it also is an important resource for the kids in the after school program.
Maybe it was alongside Second Story that I read on your website, but children who've been emancipated, who are basically on their own, don't even live with, I guess that's, I don't know, not foster kids, but old enough to live on their own.
Yes, and so we were able to reach them through the school system. And so the social workers that we work with make sure that they receive the products that they need. That was actually one of the main reasons we switched transitioned, evolved from shelters to schools, because again, going back to that, this is such like a taboo topic. A lot of times we weren't seeing the teens and the kids coming to get the pads. They were just embarrassed, and it was something so private. So we were going to the shelters, and I was like, at one point, I'm like, where are the children? Because they need these products just as much. And so then we started working with the schools, and the schools have some of the social workers and the parent liaisons have such a deep connection with the kids. So we talked to the school leaders. We said, if you're noticing that kids are out 5-6 days out of the month repeatedly, it's probably because they don't have access to pads. And so it was kind of educating that staff and letting them know. And so they did. They started noticing it, and they did reach out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was really. But
so these poor kids are just staying home.
They stay home
because they have no pads or tampons.
I mean, they can't. I mean, you've been in high school. Can you imagine going to school
telling your teacher or telling your counselor? No.
And then there's so many protocols, and a lot of times the schools do have them in the clinic, but the protocols to get to the clinic, asking for permission and hall pass and everything. By the time they get there, it's too late anyway.
So how does it work in a school? Is it all different? Every school's different. How does a kid who needs these products find
get them from us, or just if it's an emergency?
We'll get them from. How do they get to the right kids?
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's a great question. It's really it's dependent upon our point of contact at the school.
Okay.
So actually there's several ways. So that, you know, again, we work social workers, parent liaisons, and sometimes there's just a teacher who's like, I have a kid here who I haven't seen. Let me put it in my desk.
Right,
and so
right.
she puts it in her desk and tells the kid, you know, come and get that from me, and then we can make sure you stay in class.
So it's really a personal touch here.
Yeah.
In terms of not embarrassing a kid and
whatever it takes.
how the hall pass would be. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's really our mission is it's not necessarily about periods, it's about what can we do to keep those girls in school?
In school, yes.
Yeah, and that's and you know.
Well, give them what they need to live, and to function.
Yeah, and the other piece is participate in sports.
Yeah.
You know, extracurricular activities are so key to many of these kids' futures, and so by being able to stay in school, participate in sports or theater or music or whatever. They are able to have this window of opportunity that they might not have received.
Well, I'm guessing, now you've been a teacher.
Yes.
I've heard many teachers talk about how they've had to go buy school supplies. I bet you there's many times when teachers have bought period supplies for their students.
Definitely. You know, we had been advocating for a while to through Fairfax County and other districts to make sure that the schools provide the items in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And the teachers actually, several teachers came and spoke in Richmond about how they have spent so much money out of their own pocket on these supplies so that they can make sure their kids stay in class.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But
and so what happened with that legislation?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. It actually, after many, many years, it did get passed. It got passed about 2 years ago, right before.
It was 2018,
COVID.
I think. Was it?
I lost track of time.
Okay.
It was right before COVID.
And what does it do?
And it's an unfunded mandate, so the school districts are responsible for providing the funding for it, but they are required to make sure that all bathrooms in middle and high school have dispensers stocked with pads and tampons that are free of charge.
Okay.
So it's slowly coming because of COVID. The school districts have a lot on their plates. But
are you all supplying that, or is that something they're supplying?
we were supplying that prior to this.
Okay.
And actually, it was most of the supplies came from small businesses in the community who helped sponsor those dispensers. But the schools are supposed to put in their budget like they do toilet paper or paper towels or any other thing. Yeah, so we're getting there, and luckily we have lots of student volunteers who are checking out their machines and letting us know.
Well, I think when we look back on this years later, we're gonna go, can you believe that there was a time when there were girls who stayed home because they couldn't get access? They couldn't afford tampons or pads, and they had to, just miss school.
Yeah.
And now, it's available.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that one day this is I just hope this problem doesn't exist, and that we don't exist one day because everything is accessible.
Will be taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, if you could talk too about I saw pictures of your teen council. What does the teen council do?
Oh, okay. So I was describing the testimony that some of the teachers were providing down in Richmond. Well, our teens also did the same thing, and they were very courageous and powerful, and they went down and they spoke. 7th, 8th, 9th graders, and who were, obviously embarrassed to speak in front of a bunch of older men.
Mostly, a lot of men.
About their period and what it's like to get at school. But they did it. And that's actually what, after many, many years of trying to get that legislation passed, I think that's really what motivated.
It was the kids.
It was the kids. It was
from the mouths of babes.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Both sides, Republican, Democrat, didn't matter. They thought that they finally realized that this was a problem. This is something that we need to fix.
Wow.
So our students are our biggest advocates in the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want a bunch of lawmakers to hear you, get the kids down there, because they'll be motivated.
Their stories are just so. I mean, it's just like, how could you look at this beautiful little girl and say, you shouldn't have access to this, and you should be embarrassed at least once a month every time you have to get a natural biological function happens.
Hey, before we run out of time, I want to make sure we talk about Mardi BRAWS.
Oh, yes.
Because that's how I found out about it. I had heard about BRAWS, the BRAWS organization, but I was so excited to hear that we were going to be a supporter of the Mardi BRAWS coming up in February. What is it?
I am so excited to have you guys on board. This is what a treat it is. So going back again to the beginning of our discussion, I said that we had that first event where we collected items. Well, that was called Mardi Gras, and it was around Mardi Gras. So we had beads and whatnot, and everybody and their ticket to Mardi Gras at the time was a package of pads or
yeah, of course.
So ever since then, in January 2015, we have held this Mardi Gras event year after year around the same time, and it has grown significantly. It started with just like collection drive, and now it's our #1 source of income. And the money that we raised during Mardi Gras, it holds us over for the entire year. And so what it is it's just like a really fun event. We're holding it this year at Westwood Country Club in Vienna. I think this is the 3rd year it's been there. Last year we had to cancel it because of COVID, but we did do it in virtual, and it was very successful as well.
So fingers crossed it won't have to go
crossed.
virtual.
It's March 4th, so we're hoping that maybe Omicron can calm down a little bit before then. Yeah. So and so it's just a great time to celebrate the work that that our volunteers and all of our supporters do.
It sounds like a great time. I'm hoping to come.
Yeah, I hope you can make it.
Now, are people expected to bring donations?
Oh yes, you're welcome. Why not? Yeah, we definitely will collect it, of course. We also have like silent auction items, so we really hope that people will bid on that. That's online, so you don't actually have to attend the actual event to do it.
Do you have like a warehouse where you store stuff, or do you try to, like, as soon as you get the donations, take it right on out to where they're needed?
That's such a good question. No, we have an office. It's not necessarily a warehouse because it's in and out. We don't necessarily need it. Yes, it's like what you just described. We don't need to hold it too long. We're based in Vienna. Would love to give anybody a tour if they'd like to come by and see. But yeah, people donate. We do purchase bulk with the financial donations that we get, so that helps us serve more people. And then we store it there, and once a month at the last week of every month, that's what we call our distribution week. And so basically for the first 3 weeks we gather those donations. We also work with the partner organizations to find out what they need this month, because everything changes, especially in shelters, people are in and out. So we work with the organizations, figure out what they need, pack up. We have volunteers who come and pack up the boxes, and then we have volunteers who come, grab the boxes, and distribute it to all of the local organizations in the community. What
did you do during COVID when the schools were closed?
Same thing. Actually, our biggest change right now is, I'm glad you brought that up, and it's really heartbreaking that we can't do it anymore, is we used to go inside the shelters, and we brought our entire stock of bras and underwear with us, and then the women would come and shop. And they would be able to pick what they wanted. Yeah. So we can't do that anymore, unfortunately. So now and we made that switch around COVID. We pack up the box, and we try to communicate with them. Yeah, their size and whatnot. It's hard though, because every bra is very different. Yeah. And yes, not everyone knows what their proper size. So now we just drop it off at the door. But it is disappointing, but we're happy to at least be able to serve.
At least you're getting there. Yeah. And has there been an increase of people at shelters?
I mean, our distribution has has tripled since the beginning of COVID. Mainly though because we've also partnered, not necessarily in the live-in shelters, but we've partnered with so many food banks, and churches and other service organizations who have really stepped up to help those who are most in need. Yeah. And so that's how that's our way of reaching the community in a way that we weren't doing before.
Well, yeah. I mean, I bet all these food banks are, have been like, well, wait a minute, I mean, I'm sure these people need this. Yeah. Or they get asked, do you have any pads? Do you have any?
Oh, yeah. They tell us that the thing they ask for most at the food banks is the pads that we bring. Yeah. So we're happy to be able to contribute and help.
Oh, that's awesome. What's next? I mean, do you see the organization continuing to grow? You're already all over Virginia and DC and Maryland.
I just would love to make sure that we reach everybody who needs our help. Yeah. And so, there's just so much need that we haven't been able to meet yet. And I would love to make sure we're partnering with every organization that is able to work with those types, with people who need help.
You mentioned the food banks. Do most food banks offer toiletry items too?
I mean,
some do.
It depends. Yeah. It really depends. Everything's different. Like we work with Food for Others, which is just down the street, which is a great organization. I think they strictly are food. Right. But some of these churches that have stepped in to help, who also a lot of times they get their food from Food for Others, and then they could mix it with different organizations, and then they're able to distribute it to a wide variety of members of the community who need support.
So do you see the organization going bigger, like into other states? I mean,
no, you know, I'm happy that we're able just to serve our own community.
Virginia's big enough, right?
Yeah, and you know, our product, it's not like it's not like a one-time delivery. You know, they need it.
Yeah.
People need it every single month.
So you're busy.
So that just keeps it, especially even the underwear. You know, we do try to give it once every quarter, but sometimes that's not possible.
So your deliveries of the period supplies are once a month, and
period supplies are once a month. Yeah.
And then how often do you deliver the bras and panties?
You know what? It depends on if it's a partner organization or it's just a one-time. Like sometimes we just did something with Dulles South Neighborhood Closet, and they did a big. They have a warehouse of coats, and they did a big event, and we piggybacked on that, and that was just a one-time thing. And I don't know if they do that often as well. So it depends. It really depends. But we try at least to, if we can, to give quarterly. We try giving sports bras out to schools as well.
Oh, so that's the other thing. We never even mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's one of your top donation requests is sports bras. Why is that?
That's for kids to be able to participate in PE and for them to be able to do after school activities. So and we can't go into the schools, and so it's easier because they're usually just labeled small, medium, large, and so that's easy for everybody to be able to get out as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So so that's something that's really important too.
Do you give those to shelters too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, women like the PE bras, but they're actually easier to distribute.
Yeah, and you can wear them all day.
And you can wear them all day, and they're comfortable.
They're very versatile.
Yeah,
Excellent.
exactly.
Why don't you tell people if they're interested in learning more about bras and maybe getting involved, what should they do?
Yeah, they could just visit our website. It's www.braws.org. We also have a social media presence on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter.
I love it. BRAWS.
Yes.
How'd you come up with that?
Actually, I did a vote. I sent it to my friends in the beginning and asked them what their favorite term would be, and this is the one that won.
It's great because it's easy to remember,
they loved
and
it.
clear and all that. Nobody else had it either.
Yeah.
Perfect. Holly Seabold, thank you so much for coming on and talking
you.
about bras and also the Mardi Bra big event coming up, the big fundraising event, and we're happy to take part in that, and I'm so thrilled to learn more about it and hope to stay involved.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about bras and sponsoring us for Mardi Gras.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on Actions Speak Louder. I'm Peggy Fox. Be safe.